it's worrying.
Mameni Yenia Magnus Nuno Eninkomo, or National President ma National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers na Mimbisano what they make of this report Sabia indicates 34% plus of a sachet water yenum as womanum contaminated. No, good morning and thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, and my morning, warm morning greetings to all your listeners and then your viewers.
All right, let me just ask before we start the conversation. Is your tree good?
Well, it can be contemporary, but at least people can understand it.
All right, so let's do English then. That's fine. So you have seen this report by the Statistical Service indicative of the fact that more than 34% of the sachet water we consume as Ghanaians is contaminated with E. coli. How did you react to the news when you heard it?
Well, this is one of the reactions I'm going to give. I was quite surprised that something like that came up. Now, but let me first correct. I want all listeners to really get the story right. The story did not say that the final product with the sachet water packaged contains 34.1% E. coli fecal matter. It didn't say that. The story says that our sources of water, it could be borehole, it could be one of the sources is Ghana water. So let's get that correction. It didn't say the final
one of the
product.
sources could be
Ghana
water,
which could be borehole, whatever source we are using. 34.1% is contaminated with fecal matter, and that is where the problem is. So that's what I want to begin with. It is not a final product. And yes, I will move contaminated. But
okay.
The source now used to know. That is what the report said. I stand to be corrected, and I think that the presenter also can also do that correction if it's so that it's good to get the problem right. Then the solution will come.
Let me state the facts for you, because what you're saying is incorrect, and I quote.
Correct.
And I'm quoting Dr. Peter Techipepa, who is the Assistant Chief Statistician for the Ghana Statistical Service. He says that we need to pay attention to those who are in the production of sachet water. In 2017, a multiple indicator cluster survey was conducted, which we didn't just collect information about the source of the drinking water, but we tested the quality of these drinking water sources for a household. We realized that 34.1% of the household drinking water sources have fecal contamination. Fecal contamination simply means we have toilet in our water, he said.
So it's the same thing I'm saying. It's a source.
No, he's saying, please. He says that.
It's a source. He says that our source is contaminated.
Listen, he says that we didn't just collect information about the source of the drinking water.
They give their sample size and everything. We pick 41. You can Google and find another organization. They even did about West Africa, including Ghana, that they said we have 41 samples. Out of 41, we pick from 5 districts. Very clear. And these are the figures we got. The School of Public Health, University of Ghana, they have also done a search on it, so you can also contact them. And the figures are very different. If it's a source, then I can address it. What the man says the source are contaminated. Now, if it's a source, we 95 plus percentage of all sachet water produced, especially in Accra, they use Ghana water. So if you are talking about the source, are you saying Ghana water is also contaminated? That's my worry.
You said 95% of the sachet water is from Ghana water.
Address the issues one by one.
Hello, sir.
If you talk about the source contaminated, and then my source is Ghana water, what does it imply? Now, the second one is that this search, according to what you read for me right now, was conducted in 2017. 5 years down the line, you are releasing this bombshell. The same report you are reading to me says that the consumption of sachet water in domestic settings and in urban population has quadrupled, hitting a height of 72%. That is it. Now, so if 72% are consuming water that is contaminated, and then you are a government body that does 36, whatever, and you took 5 years to come up with this, what is the motive behind it? Now, let me also address the issue of contamination. What we
Okay.
do, so I want to put on record that, listen, it is the source for bottled water and sachet water are the same, common. Everybody is either using borehole, everybody is either using Ghana water, everybody is using probably spring, natural spring. We all use it. But then these sources, by definition, are not clean in the first place. If not leaf fecal matter, there can be other contaminants. So what we do is that we pick these sources that are contaminated to an extent.
Could you kindly raise your voice a bit for me? I hardly can hear you.
We process these things through a rigorous standard filtration process. Now it's become the ultimate filtration machine, which is called reverse osmosis system. Now is the standard that everybody uses. So that you pass through this thing to take first care of microorganisms, you take care of physical contamination, that is physical contaminants, and then you also handle minerals. Now, what the arrow does is that it even demineralizes the water, and then you have to redose it back. That is how strong a reverse osmosis system is. And so for me, everything about this report sounds, the timing and then the time it took for you to release sounds a bit cynical. Excuse my word. I'm a bit harsh here, but it sounds it's a very important part of an industry for the country in terms of providing safe drinking water for the populace, where studies have been conducted rightly, and on the contrary, rather say that the safest water to drink now is sachet water by the School of Public Health in conjunction with the University of Southampton. I'm a member. I became a member of that steering committee because of this. They read it well, but they realized they came to do the search and everything here. I didn't know another person has also done the same thing, and then our own sources rather giving this damning report, and it's quite worrying. So please, I don't know how the public would feel that, listen, somebody is telling me that the water has been drinking for the past 5 years contains fecal matter. It doesn't sound too well.
All right. Now, let me just point you to a research work which was done by Ebenezer Eboyahans Amwa. This was published on the sciencedirect.com website, which has to do with sachet water conversation we are doing. This was done in 2021. And let me just quickly point you in the direction of some of the findings that they have, which are not too much at variance with the report that the Statistical Service, if you are talking about the year that this was done. Just bear with me and let me find some of the findings for you. Let me share them with you. But even before I do that, you made mention of 95% of the water coming from the Ghana Water Company Limited. Can you educate us? You mentioned about the spring water as well. Apart from these two, are there no other sources of water for the production of this sachet water we consume?
Well, these are the major sources I know of. Either you have your own borehole, which most of people use, or you use spring water, right? Natural spring, springing from the earth. If you travel to a Peduasi, you can see water falling. That could be. Somebody can collect it and then treat it, or you use Ghana water. I don't know of any. Some might even use stream, provided you have the requisite. And of course, I mean, if you know, we have this desalination plant around Teshi. They're using the sea. The sea is also another source of water. So once it's water, you can transform the water to something which is portable, is accepted.
Now, the processes that lead to the final product of the sachet water or the bottled water, because you made a point that it's the same source that is used for the production of the bottled water as well. The processes doesn't kill any E. coli or destroy any E. coli or external matter in the water.
Precisely, like I said, the word pure or purified. The word pure is a much stronger word. I mean, scientifically, you can't even say pure water. You can just say purified water. So it means that we are coming from one state of impurity to a finite state of purity for making it portable for people to drink. So the initial contaminants could be heavy, and mostly that's how it is, heavy microbial loads, and then high, physical contamination in terms of particles, suspended solids, and then undesirable minerals in the water. These are the three main things, So our system, which intercepts this, so from an impure situation, it goes through these processes. The end product or the final product, you must have from be probably a microbial point of what we call TNTC. TNTC means that too numerous to count, okay? To a state of 0 microorganism.
Okay.
And then from a TDS or total dissolved solids of 5,000, like if you check the TDS of the sea water before filtration, you are talking about 20,000, but the desirable one is about 100. So then our system will be able to drop it down all the way from the 20,000 you are talking about to something in the neighborhood of 100 or 50, you know. And then the micro particles, we have micro filters, right? That you probably have maybe total suspended solid in the neighborhood of 10 per mil, you know, drop to 0 or less than 1. You know, these are the things. So the fact that what we are doing precisely is we pick the impure water, contaminated by whatever it could be. It could be, I'm not saying without admitting, it could be fecal, depending on the source or what it has come into contact with. It could be anything. But then after you pass it through these systems, the end product becomes finite and then pure. Now, so what the FDA normally does is that they look at the middle, the interception, the integrity of the filtration system. So now they have actually standardized virtually the use of the RO system. The reverse osmosis system is not even a micro filtration, it's a nano filtration system. Nano, by scientific term, means a bacteria is just 1 micron. A nano is so many minute points before what have you. So then if you have this system in the middle, and then you don't have any cross contamination at the end of the packaging and that kind of thing, the final product that comes, it must be very pure. And then you see, the RO system starts from 1 ton. 1 ton is the basic, about 20 liters per minute. That is the smallest you can produce. The 1 sachet water machine is just 1 ton. You know, so there you can have something tailored for 1 ton to something tailored for 1,000 tons per minute.
Okay.
You know, so it's not that it's too expensive, people cannot afford. The minimum can be attained by anybody. And like I said, FDA do it. Now, let me also show the public what the FDA does. First and foremost, every bottled water, sachet water, by brand on the market and is being sold has a unique FDA number, identification number. Now, that number means that you might have gone through the watchful eye of the FDA for approval before you are given that number.
Right.
Sometimes you can conditional for you to meet some of this requirement.
Quick one.
Now, the
these
FDA has
numbers
a system where your license expires once every year, the facility license. So every year you have to present your product again. If you don't, they come themselves. And then they walk you through the same processes, just like VL belt. They don't sit in the office. If your car license expires, you take the V belt, and then you go through the process again and make sure the same thing. FDA personnel, they come three people, and they go through point by point and make sure. Obviously, if you have passed before, it's not difficult to pass again. But you know, some things like can relapse and then you come back again. So this kind of rigorous process. So now, assuming, right, without admitting that somebody even has a challenge, right, the FDA system would give you out, will spew you out. In the sense that you go for examination and you must pass it. If you don't pass it, now when it comes to where you have most of these contaminations we call fecal or what have you, it's not only fecal, it can be either bacteria or other E. coli that comes. It's where the use of boreholes. Now, by that one, to how have they addressed it? They are saying that in every home now we have septic tank. The septic tanks are buried. Obviously, some are tight, but then of course you still have CP that seeps into the water table. And for that one, what the requirement is that your borehole must be at least 20 meters away from any existing septic tank. That's the first one. The second one is that your borehole must be at least 30 meters deep or beyond. You know, if it's shallower than 30 meters, it means that at that level, any microorganism can survive. So the other 30 meters or 100 feet, they are the same. So you must go beyond 30 meters or 100 feet. At that level, microorganisms cannot survive. Just like if you also fly and go very high, you need oxygen, otherwise you die. The further you go, you die. The same thing, if you go deeper down the earth, beyond a certain level, no microorganisms survives. And then the standard they have is that 30 meters or 100 feet, you don't. Obviously, that's why they are there to monitor. You could have one or two people trying to escape, and then they use shallow wells, because shallow wells can easily get
Mr.
the water.
Nuno.
Yeah.
So are you saying that it's impossible for post-purification contamination? Are you saying it's impossible?
I think I addressed. I'm not saying it's impossible. It depends on the way you handle it, and that is why FDA is there. You know, post-purification contamination is possible. So then we have what we call SOP, standard operating procedures. When they check your standard operating procedures, so what procedures do you also put in place? Whether you are producing bottled water or you are producing sachet water, what procedures do you put in place to ensure that there is not post-filtration contamination along the way? Once you are abiding by and going strictly by all the SOPs, you can minimize, the word is minimize, the possibility of post-filtration contamination.
All right.
So all these mechanisms are there and protocols to help us minimize these stages. But you see, the worrying aspect is that when the GSS came up with this finding in 2017, we were thinking that they could contact the authorities that after 5 years, the damage could have been caused. And let me also put on record, please, and tell you how good sachet water is. In the sense that when this galamsey came and all our river bodies, which are still polluted, what are they drinking? It's not sachet water. Where is river blindness today? Because sachet water. Where is guinea worm today?
All right.
Because
now,
people are drinking sachet water.
I was
Where is
referencing
cholera today?
Mr. Nuno, I was referencing a document. All right.
Quadruple. I even think it's more than what he has mentioned.
All right.
That means that it's serving the good of the population.
Let me ask my final question so we can end the conversation. Now, I was referencing a report where the microbiological quality of packaged water, and this report was done for the northern Ghana area. This was in 2021, where the report says that the centered results from the bacterial loads of the sachet water are presented in Table 4 and Figure 2. Now, this table indicates that the study showed that mean fecal coliform count range from 0 to 1.3 CFU/100 ml and 0.7 to 1.3 CFU/100 ml for samples collected from the production sites and vendors respectively. Total coliform and salmonella loads were respectively between 4.0 to 8.7 CFU/100 ml. Now, these figures, I'm sure you understand these measurement, indicators. Does it not speak to the same concerns that the GSS is raising?
Well, what sample? I'm not. What the figures I'm saying, whoever did it, if you check the work done by the School of Public Health, it's not 100%. He said 90% of the water is correct. That means that the rest of the 8% had issues. You understand? So they will have these figures you are talking about. And then when he's not mentioning that, but when you're talking about bacteria, you see, we have something we call heterotrophic bacteria. That bacteria must be in the water. If it's not in the water, that means the water is not good, it's acidic. It has figures. If they run the test of if it is 500, it's too much. It's called it, plate count. If it's also 0, it leads for it to be concerned. So not all bacteria are bad bacteria. Of course, coliforms and all these things, they must not be there. It must be 0. There are certain bacteria that must be 0. But whoever did that report must also state that there's something called heterotrophic bacteria. Those bacteria must be in the water up to a certain level. Then you do a plate count. Now, if it is also 0, then there's a problem. Then your water may be too acidic, which is killing what we call the essential bacteria. So it's a mix, and very, very complex. What he mentioned could be one out of a whole lot. Somebody has put this together, gave us the sample size that he did, and he said, from what I've done, 90% is okay. The 8% has issues. So then we can even narrow down on this 8% or 10%, and then make sure they are corrected. Now, from these analyses, we are saying we could have what we call post-filtration contamination. That's what happens sometimes with this. The filtration system may not, some of them may collapse here and there, but then that's why we have the NNC. The FDA has a very, very effective and efficient monitoring system. They have a post-market surveillance system that goes around and picks samples from all over. If your water has problem, they ask you to record. Some of these, they don't come on air. But the other, apart from the yearly review, there is what is it? Constant checking on us, market surveillance. They pick on us. They invite you personally to go there. If it is so, whatever. If once there's contamination, they just take the what is it? The batch numbers. You are asked to recall the product, clean the system. They don't to kill your business, but see, correct it and move on.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? When it is of magnitude that it can be of public concern, like what this guy is talking about, this thing would have been noticed by the FDA long ago. And they would have taken in remedial measures to curb any untoward thing happening to the public, just like they did for one of these fast foods. You know, they step in when they have to step in.
Mr.
They correct when they have to correct. So we must trust the institutions we have put in place, especially the FDA. And I must commend them; they are doing a good job. But for them, the situation would have been worse. It is still very good. 90% is great. Trust me. I'm not saying we could hit 100%, but then if you take the world's percentile, by the way of calling it, and even the SDG goals, those in the ministries, they know what I'm talking about.
All right, Mr.
Ghana is rated highest when it comes to water to the individual and safe water. Because of sachet water.
All right, we'll have to end it here. I am grateful, Mr. Magnus Nunu, for joining me. He's the National President of the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers, joining us this morning. I believe Mr. Stanley Mate has also joined us.